wanted to mention a few things about pre-K. First, I went for an on-site visit to see the class in action. Lucas was able to join me for that visit. We saw students working in centers, studying habitats, singing and dancing, a lot of dancing to the numbers, listening to a story, and playing bingo to practice their numbers. The program is structured well. The environment is nurturing. Students are learning numeracy, literacy, and social skills, and instruction is developmentally appropriate. And Lucas, I didn't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add.
I want to thank you for inviting me for the tour. I was very impressed by the facilities, and the kids were very engaged in their classroom activities, and I know this took place in a very condensed time window, and I think you guys did a great job setting it up.
Thank you. They're working really hard. It was really fun.
And my pre-K student gives it a thumbs up.
So we have, I worked actually this morning to try to put together a little video with some of the clips that we took so you can get like an inside look. Was also something that came up in the webinar that families wanted to kind of see. So I know it's not the same as being there, but at least it kind of gives you like a visual and a sense for what's going on in the program. So more to come on that. And then I also want to inform the board and remind you guys that registration for pre-K for 24-25 is going to take place online and at the district office during the month of February. On a different topic, last week I put our schools into a lockout due to an investigation at the library that involved a student. The administrators, along with the Pleasantville Police Department and our safety consultant firm, Altaris, we all met yesterday to do a deep debrief on the lockout that took place. So I want to just remind the board and the community that a lockout is used when there is an actual or perceived threat outside of the school. Students and staff follow the normal school schedule during a lockout, except that no one is allowed outdoors, and normally people are not allowed to enter the school. A lockout may be called when the school receives a report of criminal activity occurring nearby, or when there are reports of a dangerous animal outside of the school. You can see how the nature of the threat outside the school influences the implementation of the protocol. For example, if you're locking out because the police are apprehending a suspect, no one would be allowed in the schools. But if you were locking out because maybe there was a coyote outside, we would certainly let the humans of all ages inside the building to keep them safe. So in the context of Monday's situation, which occurred right between the administration, the culmination of the morning midterm and before the start of the afternoon midterm, we did not know who the person in question was. It was in close proximity to all three of our schools, and especially kind of splitting the difference right between the middle school and the high school. And once we did know who the individual was, we didn't know where they were. So we actually implemented multiple protocols within the school. We had implemented other protocols to try to mobilize people and to try to maintain locations of folks so that we could look for the person that we had identified. So while the context of this was particularly challenging, I would like to recognize the administrative team along with the police department that brought the situation to a close as quickly as possible. I want to advise on a few points that can't be repeated enough. First and foremost, it's really important that we rely on information from the district. I know it seems logical to turn to social media, and waiting is not easy during these situations. But I commit to you that the first and foremost priority is the health and safety of the students and staff in the buildings. And second to that is communication. So I will only communicate facts as I know them, and that's where families really need to rely and, implore just a little bit of patience, which I know is hard during these situations, but that's where facts are going to come from. Calling the schools or coming to the schools requires us to use resources to answer the calls and to manage traffic and visitors. And I assure you that we need to be utilizing those resources to support the situation in the schools and to resolve it as quickly and as efficiently as possible, while ensuring as much as we can that everyone in those buildings is as safe as possible. So in short, just please rely on district communications, and I know it sounds sad, but do not come to the schools, because again, it's just an additional factor for us to manage. So that was a little bit on safety. It's hard to think about it's almost like I would say for us, when things happen, we're not going and looking at our plans. We really need to know those plans. And the same would hold true for parents and for the community. It's really about knowing what to do in those situations and then waiting for information in terms of the response. On another topic, I wanted to let the board know that Dr. Frank Gray, who was the Pleasantville superintendent from 1983 to 1995, passed away earlier this month. He will be known for his love of language and travel. During his tenure, both BRS in 1990 and the high school in 1991 were named National Blue Ribbon Schools. And additionally, the softball field behind the high school was built during his time here as superintendent. So our condolences go out to the Gray family, and obviously very appreciative of him as our superintendent for 13 years. On another topic, we had a huge comeback of a high school dance last Friday night. The high school had the first dance in Pleasantville for quite a long time.
I was told there was one in the, like 2012, there was like a pink lady dance or a snowball dance or something, but then there was a sock hop for a couple of years with high school bands, and the reason that dropped off is there weren't enough bands.
So we had over, thank you, we had over 200 students attend.
Wow, 200
and I want to thank
students.
really the PCO and Pleasantville Strong and all of the community partners for supporting the dance, which was free for students, which is great.
That is so
The
great.
high school administration really led the student government. This was a student government led and organized. They were the ones serving the pizza. They were the ones scooping ice cream. And really, congratulations to them for successfully planning and implementing
That's so great.
the event, which obviously was well attended and
200
well enjoyed by
kids,
me.
that's so
Over
great.
200. I
Wow.
think it was 220 or
So
2.
happy.
Yeah, it was really great.
Obviously, that was needed.
The winter blues. It's nice to have a winter dance to look forward to.
Yeah, hopefully they do it again.
Last week, on a different, I have a lot of topics tonight. I feel like I need to have my communication skills and next we have the District Facilities Committee. So last week, we received our certificate of occupancy from the State Education Department for the middle school roof restoration, which inspired us to have a district facilities committee meeting, of which Lucas and Michael participate with. And we have on tonight's agenda the contract for a 25-year warranty roof restoration at the middle school. In addition to that, we talked about the middle school HVAC project, and we approved 2 change orders that we looked at that are on the board for tonight during consent for acknowledgement. One was approved by me and one was approved by the facilities committee. So I appreciate the committee and the support of our board on this project as we're moving along with an on time and on budget project, which is always fun to say. And lastly, when I read the mission, it's about allowing students to celebrate in their accomplishments, and we have an amazing achievement by one of our students. I want to recognize our first ever state champion in women's wrestling from Pleasantville. Last weekend, junior Adriana Palumbo wrestled her way to a first place finish in the 165-pound weight range. That's the right way to say it. So I just wanted to thank her for making us Panther proud.
Wow.
And that is the conclusion of my remarks.